One more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
Hi everybody, and thank you for spending some of your Saturday with us. If it's anything like the weather here, you might as well stay indoors because it's really, well, it's rain. I mean, I can't believe it's June. It's more like February. We've got the fire on and it's winter time ostensibly. However, we can stay in and do some really nice stuff like painting. And who doesn't want to do that? Good excuse. If you just want to look down, I'll show you what we've been up to. We've been concentrating on this set of birds because I've got a commission that involves a lot of birds, and so I've just been doing some preparatory, well, sketches. They're a bit more than a sketch really, but I've just been familiarising myself with these birds, so when it comes time to put them into the commission, I know about them, and I know which bits have caused me problems, and I'm aware of that sort of thing. So the first one that I did was the heron, which unfortunately I didn't record, so sorry about that. The next one that we did was this cutie little robin sitting on a fence in front of a hedge, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's on YouTube now if you want to go and watch it. The reference picture for that is on the Miss Acrylic Paintalot group, this page, obviously further down. And we are halfway through doing this kestrel, and he's turning out to be really very nice, I think. Hopefully I'll get him finished very soon and then upload the whole of that video to YouTube too. But today's little darling is this little duckling. Thank you. He's not looking at his best now because I've transferred him, so obviously I've gone over various parts of him with a biro, but I thought it was worth transferring him. You've seen me do that 100 times before, and I think, you know, if any of you have got any problems, you haven't seen me do it before, you don't know what we do, then just message me. I'm always happy to help. But for those of us who've been following along since the inception of this page, I think we're sick to death of watching me do that now. So there's our duckling. He's on pretty much a pretty black background. These are little ripples in the water, and down here you'll see there's a reflection of little ducky down into the water. But we'll do the duck first and then we'll concentrate on the extraneous pieces. So I painted my background black, and then just to give the yellow a chance, because as we all know, yellow is a very transparent colour, very little covering power. So I transferred the outline of the duck and gave him a quick coat of white, and then having done that, I then transferred all his features and bits that are darker, bits that are lighter. In transferring it, especially onto something like black, you'll see that you get the transfer paper sort of picks up various places. Now you can either use one of these plastic rubbers like that, or you can just get a bit of damp cloth. Oh, at the end of that. Just moisten it and it comes off straight away. So it's not a problem. Don't think that you've wrecked your painting because you've got a bit of yellow or red or whatever colour it is you've chosen of this sorrel. So that'll just dry off and it'll just be like it was never there. So the colours that I'm looking at for our little ducky, I've chosen Naples yellow, which is this lovely buttery custardy sort of colour. I've chosen raw sienna. You could choose yellow oxide, which might actually be a better choice, but that's what I've got out at the moment. And I've also got this primary yellow out. Cad's yellow medium would do. Pretty much we're all going to be mixing them together and mixing white in with it, and you know, so pretty much a light, a mid and a dark yellow. I've also picked out this colour which is listed as primary red. It's kind of a rosy colour, and that's why I've chosen it, because his beak's quite a corally colour. So we need to mix the red with a yellow and some white to get that corally, pinky, peachy sort of colour. And I've also got out my ultramarine blue to put the waves in. Well, they're not really waves, are they? I forget what you call them now, but you know what I mean. We'll mix that up with some white and put those in. Ripples, that's the word. So really, I've got my MacBook here, and I've got the picture of the duck up on the MacBook because it's a much better image than you get when you copy it out and print it. I've found of late that some of the stuff that I really needed details on, sharp details, I wasn't getting on the ones that had been printed out. So I've decided to use my MacBook for my reference. So we'll see how that goes today. It's just a slight change on normal things. I'm thinking I'm going to change this raw sienna for, I think that's another raw sienna, for yellow ochre. I think that would be a wiser choice. But you know, as I say, nothing's really changed. It's a light, a medium and a dark yellow. So let's put those out, because the first thing we need to do is kind of block in the regions, the main regions of colour. And that's pretty much what you'd do for anything. I'm not going to put very much paint out at the moment. Might need to add more later, but as I say, the fire's on and it dries out so quickly. I've been painting all morning. In fact, I've been painting all day. Dog's found a squeaky toy, can you hear him? Right, so I'm going to use a 1/4 inch angle shader to start. De Laroni System 3 1/4 inch angle shader, my normal sort of thing. And I'll start by putting the darker areas in first. And there's some darker areas around his eye, here and underneath it. So let's just go. This is just blocking in. So, you know, it's nothing too fancy. So don't worry. So there's just a little bit around his eye here. Comes down here. You can just be really loose with this. It's just putting the kind of background colour in, because we've got all his feathers and etc. to put in as well. There's a little dark bit there. I have transferred most of this just to help me, really. Help me along. And that's quite dark up to his beak there. And that bit's above his eye sort of goes like this. Just follow your reference picture. I'm not, you know, there's no trick to this bit. It's just putting in the dark where we want it. It's really quite dark under his face where it goes onto his, where his head joins his body. Oh, where am I going now? Up around there. Just pay attention to your reference picture, because, you know, I keep saying this to you, but it's true. It's so easy to get lost in a painting, and then you just can't work out where you are and what's what. So I think all this region here is quite dark. I mean, if you watched last week's live, the lemon, then I managed to get really lost on that, and you know, true to form, used the wrong colour, trying to show you how easy things could be, and it ended up I made a right pig's ear of it, but I think we got there in the end. You got the idea, if nothing else. So this is a darker bit down here. I forgot to set my my MacBook to not go off after 5 minutes, so that's going to be annoying somewhat. And there's a little bit down here. Yeah, please. Just asking Mr. Fix-It if he'll change my the time before the picture goes off. This might look a bit dramatic, this yellow oxide that we're using here, yellow ochre. Which is it? Yellow ochre. But you know, surely you've learnt by now that if there's one thing you need to know about acrylics, it's that you have to layer it. It's all about the layering. Don't expect to just put one coat of something on and, you know, that's it, wham bam, thank you, finished. Where shall I hang it? It really is. Each medium of paint, you know, watercolour, oils, acrylics, they've each got their own MO, if you like, the way of using them. Watercolour, obviously, you use the water almost like a paint to pull colours away. Oils, I haven't really used oils that much, so I can't really say too much, apart from they stay wet. So I'm thinking that they're more like my golden opens here, that you get quite a bit of working time. And acrylics, they're definitely all about the layers, all about the layers. So once I get my reference picture back, I'll tell you what we'll do in the meantime. We'll pop his eye in. Oh, there we are, he's back. In that case, I'll redeem my brush from the water and we'll make sure we've got all that we need to get. I'm just going to add another little bit up here because it just comes a bit higher up than where I put it.
Paula says hi.
Hi Paula! I love the mixed media bit that you did this week. I absolutely adored it. I think it's probably the best thing I've ever seen you create. Really loved it. Where am I going with this? I don't think I'm going anywhere else, to be honest. I think that is about that. So I'll...
Susan Hall says hi.
Hi Susan. Well done on your old barn. Well done on it. It's unbelievable. If you think, you know, a few months ago and now you're producing that, it's amazing. Really is. I hope the hubby liked it. So now we'll move on to the Naples yellow, and we'll put that in, and that goes pretty much everywhere really. But as you know, it has poor coverage. Now the tops of these sort of taily bits are quite white, but we can come in after and put those in.
Susan says she loved the old barn.
I know, and you weren't too keen to start with, I don't think, but I'm glad you persisted with it because it's, you know, it's turned out really nicely.
Pride of place on the wall.
As it should. Absolutely as it should. I must say we've hung ours up in the living room as well, and it's not, certainly isn't every painting that we do that gets to hang up in the living room. But I did like it. I enjoyed doing it. We've got the Bodrum house at the moment. Could you explain to people, please, what exactly we're talking about here?
We're talking about the tutorials that go on YouTube generally twice a week. It's the larger project that take several hours to complete.
And at the moment we're doing...
We're doing the Bodrum house.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 parts on there already. The third part goes live this evening at 7 UK time, and the final part will be next Wednesday at the same time.
And then after that, guys, we've just got the best yet, isn't it, Mr. Fix-It? It's brilliant. I love it.
It's a diptych.
It's a diptych.
Or 2 parts if you prefer, if you're not fancy.
Yeah. It's a panoramic picture. There's no point me doing that because I'll go off screen. It's really wide.
Wider than the screen.
Wider than the screen, and I've decided to do it as a diptych. So I think that will be really nice. So I'm just as I reach this darker yellow, I'm just pulling that over in that way, just over it. You know, it's not giving it a lot of coverage, but it's just, you know, get rid of that sharp edge. I guess I could have used a bigger brush for this, if I'm honest, but never mind. I'm committed to this one now. It would just be too much of a trouble to change. So
Look,
this
it's
again.
the same with me. You're committed, but it's too much trouble to change.
I wouldn't change you. I wouldn't change you for anything. He looks a bit odd like this, doesn't he? Looks a bit like a sort of bath toy. You know, the kiddies floating ducks that you get for the bath. I've got this bit outlined. Yeah, rubber ducks. I think that bit's darker there, and I've just forgotten to put it in, so just leave it out just now. Leave it out. So if we can get this background of this very light yellow where we need it.
It says I sound like Darth Vader.
Darth Vader? I am your father. Does that...
I am your father, Luke.
Does that come out of Star Wars? I don't know how I knew that, because I've never watched Star Wars in my life. Neither do I have any intention of ever doing so. Yeah. So you sound like Darth Vader. Perhaps we could make some money by you doing voiceovers. What do you think?
It's a possibility.
Well, it is. Okay, so we are making progress. This bit underneath his beak, it's like the bottom of his beak, and it's quite a dark shade, but it's not dark yellow, so I'll leave that. His head, pretty much the same thing, more Naples yellow, guys. Not really a line around there, but I'd quite like to leave a line just to help me when I come to put his head in.
Susan says it's the echo, but it's probably picking me up on both microphones.
Ah, right. You just have to stand up and speak into my mic. So it doesn't matter that we're going over these yellow, darker yellow pieces. I mean, don't go over all of them, because that would just be daft. We do want them to sort of meld in together, so going over them a little bit is not a punishable offence. Won't see you end up in jail. I don't think. I'm just fairly cautiously going around his eye there. That's the only bit really that I've been cautious about. Oh, what's going on there? That's beak. What's that bit there? I don't know. That's his beak, isn't it? There. No, that is his beak. See what I mean? How easy it is to get lost in this. It's just, I'm going to go back to the dark, although I've probably still got some light. Invariably, I've still got some light on my brush. This is dark coming up here. And just a bit more under there. Forgotten about his cheek for some reason. Got carried away putting my dark in that I forgot I hadn't actually finished him. So it's quite easy to see where his sort of face part ends and his body begins, because we've got this line of shadow around him, around his head, which makes life a bit easier for us. Right, so that's basically that. I think we need to mix up some coral and get his beak in, and the sort of outer ring of his eye is also that corally colour. So let's make up some of that now. You can see the size of what we're doing, so we don't need very much at all here. Like that is enough to do 300 beaks, but never mind. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and a little bit of this Naples yellow, mix them together and see. Yeah, that's quite a, it's all right actually, I'm quite pleased with that. Just going to add a little bit of white to it, lighten it up a little bit. Don't think we're too far off with that. We'll use that for this bit round here, because that's where it's kind of at its darkest, and along the top here, which is a fairly straight line actually, and then it's along here where it's dark. I mean dark, you know, in the dark by comparison. Come on, girl, get a grip. So I just need a little bit more that's darker, slightly darker than that, which that will do nicely. And the bottom of his beak is this colour.
Susan says Sharon's barn was good.
Yeah, it was lovely. It really was lovely.
Loved the trees.
Yeah, the tree was excellent. But yours was really good, Susan. Absolutely. Absolutely, it was. Actually, I think we all did pretty well, really. I think we all deserve a curly-whirly. Which, if you're not from this country and you're not of a certain age, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about.
Still do sell them, you know, Granny.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Grandpa.
Just don't have the teeth anymore for them.
Give over. I've had a week with my teeth, but... So I need a bit of white now. Make this really light on the top of his beak, like that. I'm going to come back with my transfer paper at some stage because I'm not entirely sure that I've got that right. It doesn't look right. And I just want a very little brush now, just to put that little, I don't know what it is. Is it a nostril or something like that?
It's exactly what it is.
All right. So this is one on this side.
So like a nostril is actually a nostril.
Well, fancy that. And this is about here. And it's got a darker sort of, darker rim. Around it. Lost my yellow now. Put that back in. Yeah, there we are, okay. Not sure if that shouldn't be higher up his nose. Yeah, I think so. Well, I've got the rose on the go, I'll just paint that out. See, this is what you get for being shonky with your transferring. Paint that out, let that dry, I'll come back and I'll put it in again, because obviously that just wasn't right. But while I've got a little brush on the go, which I have here, he needs a dark line, which is almost black. Let's put a bit of yellow into that, just colour it a little bit. And he's got this line that comes from here. Along his beak. And it's not exactly straight. Don't know whether that's a peculiarity of this particular duckling or whether all ducklings are like that, but let's put him in as we see him. Right, groovy. Now it's time to get on with things like feathering. It's feather your nest. Right, so where is my deerfoot stippler? I've already had it today. Is it there? Is it out there?
I shall go and check.
I've already used it today. I've already washed it off. I can't believe. Spend my life going, where is? Oh, I've got a nice fan brush here as well. That'll help. I don't know. Not there. Oh, it's here.
Maybe to dry.
Okay. The thing about deerfoot stipplers, if you're not familiar with them, this is what they look like. They're raggy on the end, but they work a bit like when you're putting stencils on. If you put too much water in your paint, or you've got too much paint on your brush, the paint seeps under your stencil and you get a not a good stencil. It'll bleed through. And with these deerfoot stipplers, if they're wet, they don't pick up, each hair doesn't pick up individually, it just picks up a blob of paint, and that's not what we're after. So I'm going to mix up, not with that, I'm going to mix up with this, some Naples yellow and a little bit of that our medium range. It's our medium range clothing, madam. So I don't want the bright yellow. That's about right, I would say. Let's concentrate on his head. So you just pick it up by stroking it like that, and then we move on to wherever we want it. And you see it leaves these lovely marks. It's difficult to see, I know. But if I pick some up and then go just outside the black, you'll see the marks that it leaves. And it's perfect for feathers, for fur. I need something with a bit more contrast. This isn't showing up very well. I'll put some white into it. I think might be a good idea. I don't want the same hue as Naples yellow. I want it to be different. Maybe add another little bit of yellow into there. If it doesn't all mix, don't worry, because the feathers are different sort of shades anyway. So let's try this one then. So on the back of his head, it's quite light like this, and this is doing the job. But I think you can't see it, because I can barely see it. But it gives coverage, but not heavy coverage. So around here we want it like that. So we've still got the dark shading there, but we're covering it over loosely like that. I think for the sake of the camera, I'm not going to get away with doing that. It's just not going to show up. So I'll wet this brush is called a sword brush or a dagger. It's a brush I have had for years. I mean, look at it, all the enamel's coming off it and everything. But it's really only recently that it's found its way into my heart, and now it's in my heart. It ain't getting out. I really, really like it. It's so useful. So I'm just going to mix up another colour, which is some of the darker medium yellow with some of the darker yellow.
Georgia, let's check. Says hello.
Hi, Georgia. At least he tried this time, eh? So that's given us a darker but lighter than this one. So let's go into that with this, and let's see if we can get something going here. So this comes round his eye.
So she's glad she caught, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught me too. Thank you. So you see with this dagger brush, you can load a lot of paint onto it at any time, and really the line you get, if I show you here on the palette, you get the finest of lines. Not seeing it? You would if I chose black, but really I don't want to put black on my brush.
You can see it on the eye now.
Yeah, you can see it there.
I'm zoomed in.
You're zoomed in, are you? Zoomy. So that's the darker there. There's a very dark bit here which we'll leave and put back in. And then there's all this under here. But we've got a head start because we've blocked it in. We've got this good head start. And really, people, this is kind of it. It's a question of doing this. Oh, look at bits falling off my brush. I'm going to have to get a new one. It's putting the feathers in over and over again. And really, once you've put them in once, you could probably go back over it, put more in. You know, there's no end to it, really.
Georgia's written the phonetic spelling again, but it's different from what she spelled last time. She doesn't even know how to do it herself.
She does. It's her name, she must. So what's the phonetic spelling now? These start coming down here.
Plechak.
Spell it out what she's written.
Pleh-CHACK.
Plechak. Plechak. I'm going with that. Oh no.
I'm sticking with Georgia P.
Georgia P, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, I mean, it's quite an unusual name, Georgia, but we have two. We've got Georgia Owen and we've got Georgia Plechak. Plechak. So these ones under here kind of go this way. Pay attention to which way your fur is lying. Your hairs are lying, because it'll help you later. It'll help the overall painting. If you start heading off in the wrong direction, it's difficult then to pull it back to go the way you want it to go. These ones here on his body are fairly horizontal. And you'll see when we get the other feathers put on what a good help it is to actually have that blocking end done. It also makes your paintbrush move more easily. It's just a little bit of darkish in there. And some dark along here, along the top of his back. No, don't fret too much. We'll be coming back over it again and again and again until we're totally sick to death of it. Frankly, I never get sick to death of this. I really like how it evolves layer by layer. I'm not going to put you through too many layers today, guys. Don't worry about that. I wouldn't do it to you. I've done it to you too many times before. Made you watch me do so many details. This one really is just a bit of fun. So let's move into that light colour that we mixed with the Naples yellow and white, and we'll start putting that down into here. I'm just going to have to spray this because it's just, the dagger brush actually needs quite thin paint to work properly. So so you bite into the dark area that you've just done, going over some of it. Not over other bits. And this comes down to about here. As I say, bite into it a little bit. And there's a nice light bit there under his eye. When you do this with a dagger brush, make sure you're on the point of it, otherwise it'll go, the whole brush length will go into the eye, and there's a light bit there under his eye, so let's get that in as well. There we are. And then when it comes to here, it's light. I'm going my very quickest, guys. I really am going quick. For me, anyway. And then we need a sort of mid colour. That might do there, actually. Yeah. And it comes round like this. And feed it into the darker region that you did. This is all you need to know if you ever want to get the inclination to paint your cat or your dog or a farm animal or anything. It's all about devil's in the detail. Oh, my brush is falling apart. It's falling apart before my very eyes. There's some yellower bits in there. Looks a bit cross at the minute, doesn't he? What exactly are you doing to me?
Looks a bit crackers.
Have you been waiting? I've been waiting for the opportunity. So there we are. I think that's the third layer or so on there. It's now beginning to look, on this section, beginning to look okay. So I just need some very light colour, and it goes under his beak here. Once again, feather it back through the colours that you've done, so there's no hard edge. That is a no-no really when you're doing fur or feathers. So right, that's that bit sort of done, I think. So let's carry on moving along here. I'll go for that mid yellowy colour. I beseech you not to use your dagger brushes to mix paint like I do, because you'll wreck them. So this comes this way in like this, and then by the time it gets to here it's going sort of more that way. So make sure that you put your brush strokes the way that feathers are lying, because even if you've got to come back and put another layer on, it sort of shows through the original way that they were, and you'll regret not having done it. But by the time we get to here, these are going this way, so we're all right. But you can see the dark through it, and you can see the purpose of blocking it in. It's definitely, you know, it's a must, really is a must. It's just odd little flecks down here that are just a bit lighter. This is one of those ones where I say to Mr. Fix-It, that's it, I'm done, it's finished. Oh, well, I'll just do that. And you could go on all evening just doing that. I need some more white, and I need some more Naples yellow. In fact, I'm out of pretty much everything. I'm going to have to put his eye in soon because he's scaring me. He looks really scary. So where's my little brush? Don't know. I use this one. I think I might have washed it out and put it there actually. Yeah, it's alright. I have a plethora of little brushes. Right, let's put this eye in then. See if we can bring him to life a little bit. Take your time when you're transferring where the eye is, because it's critical that you get it in the right place, because it can make it look really freaky if you get it wrong. That might just need another coat. But the ring around it is a kind of corally browny colour. So I'm just going to reach for some brown. This will do, whatever it is burnt under it. He's looking quite cute already, don't you think? No? I was deafened by the silence. I think that's the kind of colour we want. It's a little bit, yeah, it's a sort of pinky browny. So it might be a bit too pink actually, that now. I have to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, I think that is good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good colour. Need a bit more water on my brush. I personally thought ducklings were sort of yellow and brown, but this is quite definitely a duff. He's a duffling. Yeah, that's what he is. He's a duffer. And there's some white just on the top of his eye. Top of that ring, I should say, in there. Like that. Drop some water on there. Okay, so where was I? I was with my so going back into this one, which is quite a light tone. Need it to show up against the colour that he is already. And these hairs go that hairs. I'm determined he's going to have hairs. Brush strokes all go up towards the beak. Try not to paint over the beak. Might need to reinstate some of these darker colours, but that's fine. We know where they are. We know where they are. Okay, so now I've got quite light in my brush. This bit here could do with a bit of beefing up. That's fine. And this bit in here needs a bit of work. Try not to be too impatient, either with me or yourself. It just all takes time. But when I get this to a state that I know you'll be able to finish it, then I'll call time. I'm sure you could do it yourselves even now. And I've learned a lot of skills along the way, I think. I do still want to carry on with the back to basics tutorials, because I think some people do find them very, very handy when I get them right. I think that is pretty much white on the top of his head there, so I'm just going to put that in. If it turns out it's too stark, we'll come back and put some yellow over it. But it looks pretty white to me. Leave some yellow showing through. Not too much. And there's another bit here that's really, really light. So he's coming along. Yeah, just have a look at him on the monitor, just to make sure you can see what I can see. So with a very, very light yellow, I'm going to have to put out some more of the Naples yellow, and I'm also going to have a drink because I mean lemonade here, guys, because I'm so thirsty. So excuse me, folks, sorry about that. It's not very nice to do on screen, I know. The Art Sherpa does it. She has a coffee, doesn't she? She's an amazing woman, isn't she, Cinnamon Cooney? An amazing woman. So I'm in again with this very, very light yellow. It's really light. And I'm leaving a space behind his head because if you have a look at your reference picture, you'll see that's what's going on. So a lot of this is this. It might have been more beneficial, I think, to have blocked in with a slightly darker colour. And the reason I'm doing this, as I tell you, is because I've got all these to do for a commission. And so now I've learnt that. I've learnt that his body, etc., needs a darker colour to show up these lighter ones again, lighter feathers against it. So for me, that was an excellent learning trip, and for you also, because now you know that when you block in, you need to block in with a slightly darker colour. Not much. We're not talking, you know, bright orange or anything. So these here on the tips are this ochre colour, but it is kind of just the tips. So I'm coming up to his head, so I'm just using the end of my brush. Right, so let's see where that gets us to. We perhaps need to go in with a medium colour here, and maybe an odd little medium few bits around around his tum-tum. So have I got a medium? No, don't be silly. I'll put out some of this. And I'll mix some of that with the Naples yellow. They look cute, Mr. Fix-It, do you think?
I think he does, and so does Georgia P.
Thank you, Georgia.
And Susan.
Oh, Susan. You lot are so kind. You're kind to an old lady. So I'm really just selecting places. Oh yeah, Mr. Fix-It's got a new toy. You know how he likes to point at things. So here he comes with his new toy.
What's going on here?
It's part of my brush. My brush is falling to pieces. Look at it. It's on my brush. I don't know if you can see this guy. Get away with your hand. Scratch my head. Enough already. This is, I don't know even how to get another one of these brushes, because can you see that? Let's see if I can hook. Where's the camera?
So above the duck and then come upwards.
Okay. Can you read that, what it says? It says kippers. Kippers. I mean, how do you go about finding a paintbrush that says kippers? So I'm stuck with him for the time being.
It sounds Dutch to me.
Kippers.
Kuipers.
So I'm now really just putting detail in. I could have gone on, as I'm sure you know, I could have gone on a long time and dragged this out to one of my, you know, normal length tutorials. But I so appreciate you joining me on a Saturday afternoon. I really do. I didn't think anybody was going to be around. But if you want to practice fur, hair, feathers, give this a go, because it's not big. So, you know, any mistakes can easily be rectified quite quickly. Not that we make mistakes, because we don't, obviously. and then that'll set you up really well. Susan, I'm sure you've got a cat. I'm sure somewhere in my mind thinking that you had a cat. You know, it might be nice to take a photograph of your cat and have a go. Have a go with doing the furry, feathery bits. This needs to be a wee bit darker than that. Let's darken a little bit of it. Don't want it the dark that we blocked in with, but we just want it a little bit darker than that. So this is right under his chinny chin. And actually up under his chin, it's really quite dark in there. And that just sort of defines his head from the rest of him. Just some short strokes and then just pull them down into his feathers, which I'm sure you'll get the hang of real quick sharp. If you've got this brush or one like it, I'm sure Dale will only do one too. It makes it so much easier, really does. Right, let's wash that out. It's looking nice. I'm leaving so much of my brush in this water. So let's pick up some white, because this on his head actually did, you know, it all dries back. It always does. You put it on, you think, ah, yikes, that's white, but it does dry back. But it gives us a nice bit of contrast. So here we're sort of going across this way. Oh, I've lost him. Answered. A little bit of white there around his beak, bill, whatever he has. And just keep bringing it up, as you see on the reference picture. Nice short little strokes where he's at his fluffiest. Some water on that, it's just a bit stiff to pick up. Just do some down here because that's really quite light down in there. A little bit more integration there maybe, I think. Okay, so these ones now sort of go that way. I'm not proposing to put a load in there, but just enough to give it the texture. Texture is what it's all about. Did you find any kipper brushes?
There seems to be a company called Kipper's Hobby.
Alright.
.com. They're sort of wholesalers.
Oh.
And I found some Kipper's sort of embossing powders and the like.
Right.
So
maybe they just do crafty sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's possibly we got them from that Budley Crafts.
Yeah.
In a clearance sale. Yeah,
Budley Crafts often have really good clearance sales, don't they?
They do.
I think this brush, it's part of a 5-piece. I think it's 5 pieces. They're all flat brushes. But how much did you pay for them?
$2.89.
Yeah, and you'd think they'd be rubbish for that, but actually this is my preferred wash brush. You know, go to it all the time. So it was worth it for that alone. Right, so now we need just a darker little bit, and I don't think that the sword brushes is appropriate for that. It's just it's too long. So we'll mix a bit of that in with a bit of that.
Susan's saying that she had 2 cats, and they were 19 and 20.
Wow.
And she's got some pictures, and she's thinking of having a go.
Oh, please do, Susan. Please. If you get stuck or if you need to know anything, message me. If I can help you, I will. But don't get put off by it, because it is a long, tedious road. But make sure you do your blocking in first. That's always a really good guide to go by. And block in using the colour that's most prevalent in that area. That's the best advice I can give you at the moment. Right, so we just need this colour that we've just made up to just... I'm just using the toe of my angle shader. I could have used a smaller brush, which probably would have made more sense. And it's just a little bit just in there, just shadow of his head. So I think we just need a little bit more definition on that face. So I'm going to take a bit of that and a bit of that. This really is about taking a little bit of that and a little bit of that, just until, you know, I can't give you a recipe. For one thing, you probably haven't got the same paints as I've got, and you won't have the same shade on your paper, so or your canvas. So just put some, there's just some coming in here. We've already got quite a light colour on here, which is great. Showing these up nicely. And because we blocked that in earlier, we've still got that nice dark colour underneath, which is brilliant. That's what we want. Right, okay. I don't think he's that far off really, is he? Is there anything that needs any attention? Get your hand out. I'm only talking to the hand, I'm not talking to you. Yeah, what?
Maybe just the top a bit more white looking.
Have you seen the reference photo? It's really white. I'll put some yellow in it. Fear not. I'll put a bit of yellow in it. I did put quite a lot of white in there, to be fair, because it really is on the reference photo kind of bright white.
Yeah.
I'll just make a distinction between that and his body. Well, I think, you know, I was going to do all this with the Deerfoot Stippler. I'm quite pleased really that it didn't work out and that we're doing it with this. God, I've got so much paint on there. Just going to put some Naples yellow in that. Down it back a bit.
Let me change the colour a little. Oops. So it shows up a little. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's noticeable that he's a duckling. Do you?
I think you wouldn't mistake it for a
Elephant.
Doberman.
Oh, well, that's always good, isn't it? Not convinced that this bit here is quite dark enough. I think that's better with it.
Are you doing the water as well?
Yeah, I'm doing the water as well.
So if you went away and did the water, then that'll have time to dry and you get a better impression, maybe.
Yeah, I just want to put his nostril in. Actually, it's quite a dark rose colour down the side of his nostril. The nostril, beak. Maybe now I'm going bonkers.
Sound like a stuffy duck, wouldn't it?
I know. Quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah. Let's put that in, line down there. It's actually even redder than that, to be fair. It's quite a... And that is a distinct line there, so I don't know, that's what ducklings must look like. What did I want to do? His nostril, that's right.
well over 100 different ducks.
Are there really?
So presumably there's well over 100 different ducklings.
I thought there was just like a mallard, one of those oriental jobbies. What's my pen? And I thought that was about it really.
I thought there was duck à l'orange.
I know, don't
duck
say.
in plum sauce.
Do you know, it's only a couple of seconds ago that I thought, oh, duck is so nice to eat. And I thought I'd better not say that because it won't go down very well. But, you know, trust you. You can you can say it for us, can't you? So it's just a little bit of this.
Little shame, as you know.
Little shame. That's pretty much it. That's what his nostril looks at. And I think it's got a bit of black in it. So therefore, I'm going to give it a bit of black. Just a tiny bit around there. That's, yeah, I'm happy now. That's better. Now I'm just going to put the glint in his eye. You can only see one.
Paul wants to know what you use the splayed out brush for on the end, which I think she's
The
referring
fan
to
brush.
Fan brush.
Yeah. Well, if I was doing grasses or trees, have I got a bit of paper in there? I'll just put this glint in his eye, seeing as I've got some white on the brush. Just move Ducky away for a minute. Tap. Right. Let's fold this again because I can't fit it in. Right. With this brush, you make sure it's wet. Bring it over to your colour, we'll say this one, and add quite a lot of water to it. Dip it off. And then if you're doing grasses, it's perfect. I mean, you'd have to imagine that's green, obviously. Or it could be hay. So you can get away with, you know, your grasses like that. And if you, obviously with nature, never just one colour. So you'd probably put, you know, some more in there, maybe just some in at the bottom, whatever. But if that was green, you'd see you'd have fairly pretty grasses if you kept that stroke up forever. Or you can do trees with it. You can do the leaves, sort of the boughs of trees.
Weeping willow.
Yeah, or well, most trees really, because if you don't use all of the fan part of it, just a part of it, you can get really nice trees. I was going to use it in this sort of manner, or just to give me some feathers like that. But then I decided to use the other brush, but you can see how that would work with that. This is a really, really old brush, and it was really cheap at the time as well. Most fan brushes that you get are in better nick than this, but it pays to abuse them. They work better once they've been abused. The other thing you can do with it, which most people do with it, is splatter it. So you just hold your brush over your... I don't want to do this too heavy because I've got my MacBook on the table. Just keep knocking it against your finger and you get a... I don't know if you can even see that. You get a... do it in red. You'll see that, I'm sure. Do it over another brush as well if you want to, like this. Okay, see that splatter? So that's just some ideas of what you can do with a fan brush. Thanks for the question, Paula. Back to Ducky McDuck. Right, I think that we can draw our... Somebody's knocked my thing over. It must have been me. I know it was me, actually. So he's got this sort of reflection, and I think we're able to cope with reflections. We can draw that in, I'm sure. So it comes around here, and that's the reflection of our duck. It's really not any more complicated than that, guys. It's fairly straightforward. And because he's in the water, which has got a bluish tinge in real life, it's coming out as being a green. So let's get some green. And we'll water that down. It's not going to show up very well anyway against the black. In fact, let's just have a look and see how it does show up against the black. I seem to have a lot of brushes on the go today, considering I'm not doing anything very much. Let's just put it on there and see how it comes out. Oh, not quite like that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. That's olive green, guys. Which you can make yourselves. I've got it in a tube, and that's for no other reason than I'm lazy. Well, and I like buying new paint. But if you want to make olive green, I think I've told you before, it's just black and yellow. Any cad medium, anything like that will make Hansa yellow and black make a nice Hansa yellow, yeah, and black make a nice olive green. So, you know, don't despair if you haven't got olive green. You've got the ingredients. I know you have. Try not to put too much paint down on this. Once again, I could have used a bigger brush. Seemed to be welded at the hip to this 1/4 inch angle shader. So I'll introduce a bit of water because it's getting a bit sort of solid. I don't really want it to look that solid, so I'm just going to take some water through there. And just dip it off with my towel. Yeah, I like that better, that's better. It's, you know, it's a reflection, not a sort of solid thing. That's better. You guys know, don't you, if you make a mistake with acrylic, I've told you this before, but for any new people, if you make a mistake with acrylic and you spot it, you know, straight away sort of thing, then introduce a lot of water to it. Usually with the brush that you're using is the quickest thing to get hold of. Put a lot of water over the top of it and then damp it off with your towel or kitchen towel, whatever you're using, and it'll come off. So I'm just gonna just dab at that. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's all right. He's going to have a little bit of wave going into him. I always use an old towel. I find it more absorbent. It sticks into the towel instead of always with kitchen towel. It comes through it. Even shop towel, even thick shop towel, it comes through it and it ends up on all, you know, all your hands, all 2 of them. And invariably it gets everywhere. These towels, we buy them from the charity shops. They're categorized as dog towels, and I do nothing to dispel that from them. They say, oh, you've got a dog, and I say yes. They're 50 pence each where we are. I just wash them, chop them up, and they just go around in circles. They keep going in the washing machine, and I keep using them. And so, you know, the ultimate recycling rather than kitchen towel. So there you go. Right, so now it's time to put our, what did I call them earlier? Ripples in. There's not that many. Are you seeing anything wrong with Ducky? Anything I've missed, forgotten?
No.
No? Oh, goodness me. He's passing the taste test. No, he's not eating. Don't eat paint. Just don't eat paint. Look, it's 5:10. People are going to be free in no time. It's a kind of world record for us. So mixing up, yeah, you can see that. It's aquamarine blue and titanium white. I want it blue, but no, glory, I've just caught a bit of blue there, just when I was getting to a nice shade. There we are. You can buy paint that's called light ultramarine. Even I'm not that lazy. Right, so we're just going to put some bits of wave around him. This one seems to be coming out of there. This one's got a bit of a kink to it. And once again, this brush, this dagger brush, is your best friend. After me. After me. And we've got some big ripples. Got one just sort of under him there.
Susan wants to know if you've ever done a tutorial on brushes and their abilities.
I haven't, Susan, although I've really thought about it. I mean, in this tutorial, for example, you know, we've looked at the dagger brush, the angle shader, the tiny little scripts, and quick little lesson on fan brushes for Paula, which I'm sure, you know, she could do with more. It was very quick and impromptu. But no, that's a really good idea. A really good idea. Do you think it would take me over an hour to deliver that? Yeah, of course it would. Of course it would. So this sort of goes thin and then it goes thick again. And with this dagger brush, it does that it'll do that for you. It takes all the strain, like going on the train. Let the train take the strain. Do you remember that, Mr. Fixer?
Before my time.
Fat liar. There we go. I think we're there. Do you think we're there? Any more for any more? Anybody? If you see something, please comment, and I'll see. It's not always easy when you're sitting looking at something. So if anybody sees anything that needs sorting, please shout. Do you think the bottom of his beak needs to be a bit darker? Do you think?
Yes. Looks a little like he's sticking his tongue out.
He does actually. That's the stuff I was using when I showed Paula, so just add a little bit of brown to that. See what happens? Yeah, that's all right. That's good. Another lesson that's worth thinking about, Susan, is colours and how they react to, you know, when you mix them, because sometimes, and it's for a very good reason, the answer's on the colour wheel, but sometimes you mix colours and they go muddy, just not very nice and muddy. I think that looks a bit better. I'm just going to darken this bit up here. It's going to go round his eye with a bit of a darker colour, not all of it, just like that. Yeah, what you come to say?
If you take the reference picture off now, we could probably compare the two and then...
Yikes. Oh no, it's rubbish, that one, isn't it? Because I painted all over it. I mean, I put... well, it's on my page. It's on the Miss Acrylic Paintalot's page, the reference photo for you. I've done this on an 8x10. It's De La Roni canvas, I think. Can I just alert you to one thing? I bought 18 of these 10x8 canvases from De La Roni through somebody, I can't remember who. And when they came, they didn't have the keys that go in the corner to stretch the canvas. And I'm really a bit knocked about that, if I'm honest with you. Because I think, no, not that one. That was, oh yeah, that's the keys. Yeah, these are the keys that you get. And you put them in the corners and whack them with a hammer to stretch your canvas. And these De La Roni ones, despite the fact they've got slits in to do it, they didn't have any keys. So I'm a bit miffed about that, really. In fact, I'm royally miffed about it. So anyway, I think that's would pass as a duckling. and it's been good fun. I hope you do it, and I hope you enjoy doing it, because that's what it's all about. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Yeah, I'm happy. I'll sign that, and there's another bird down.
Yeah, it's as if you do on colours and brushes. I think we did one on the colour wheel.
Yeah, it was quite quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be
Yeah,
we're
because
not doing a range of really back to basics.
Yeah.
Like the lemon.
Yeah, that's right. No, the knowledge of the colour wheel is critical, and also the knowledge that there are 2 colour wheels. Intriguing. Yeah, I'll work on that, and that's a really good idea, Susan. Thanks a lot. Thank you. So, for everybody else who's joined in also, thank you very much. I think we made quite a cute little duck there. I quite like him. So, have a go. Paint your pet. If you're ever going to make money out of painting, it's by painting people's pets. People love to have their pets painted. More than their kids or anything else, they love to have their pets painted. And up here in the northeast, people love to have their prize sheep painted. And their prize cows and pigs, and I haven't done a pig, and whatever. But you need to get it out there that this is what you do. And the only way that you'll get good at fur and feathers is practice. That's absolutely the only way. And it is quite tedious. There's a lot of work. And we've done that one ever so quickly. You know, could take another 3 hours, 4 hours. But practice. Take a picture of your cat or dog at home and practice. Who's going to see it? Who's going to know? Nobody will know if it turns out a disaster. So anyway, I think that's me done. I can't thank you enough for joining me. I think Paula has got a live on her page later tonight. You have to check it out, I think. Very Chic Emporium. See what's going on her page. And I shall see you all. Oh, well, keep posting your pictures of the Bodrum house as you carry on with it. And I'll see if I can get ahead with the diptych, so there's never any waiting for videos like there was with the old barn. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking. We was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden, what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party.